You ever have a day where your whole world gets turned upside down before breakfast? Because I was out there stretching a survey line across 640 acres of Wyoming grassland, minding my own business, when the sky just about fell on me. I mean, one minute it's just the wind and buffalo grass, the next a helicopter comes barreling in so low it kicks up half the county's dust. And this woman in a sharp black suit jumps out waving a piece of paper like it's a pistol. "Stop immediately," she shouts louder than those rotors somehow. "This is federal land." Now look, let me back up a sec. That patch of ground my father died out there alone fixing a fence in the cold. Heart attack, they said. The deed's in my cabin, the will's got my name on it. And yet, here's Fiona Kellerman, never heard of her, telling me I have no right to breathe this air. Chief legal officer for some outfit called Wind River Resources. All attitude and zero warmth, basically steamrolling over my existence. What I didn't know right then was that the dirt under my boots was sitting on millions. And my dad, well, maybe he hadn't just died of natural causes. That morning started like any other. First light coffee, barely down, I drive out from the old cabin, steel stakes in the truck bed, rattling GPS clipped to my belt. The Wind River Range sits off to the west, still holding on to the last bits of snow even in May. 640 acres. That's what the deed said. That's what Dad left me after his heart gave out on a frozen October morning 5 years ago. I hadn't set foot here since his funeral, couldn't do it. But I hit 38 burned out after a dozen years consulting for oil companies, and this land started to feel like the only thing in my life that was real. Granddad bought it back in the 50s when acreage was cheap if you didn't mind being 2 hours from the nearest grocery store. Cattle, then horses, then just fences. My old man died keeping those fences upright, mostly out of stubbornness. Now the posts are half rotted, the wires rusted, and I'm here finally to finish what he started. So I'm hammering the first stake into the ground hard as concrete takes everything I've got. I'm halfway down the southern line when I hear this low thrum that sure as hell doesn't belong to the wind. At first I think maybe it's a medevac someone heard on a ranch nearby, but nope, the helicopter is coming straight for me. Drops so fast the rotor wash almost knocks me flat, and before the skids even settle out pops Fiona Kellerman's suit, immaculate hair tied back like she means business. She shoves a folder in my face, says I'm trespassing on federal land and that I need to stop immediately. I flash her my deed, Branson, clear as day, 1987. She glances at it, doesn't even bother to touch it. "That deed's got a problem, Mr. Branson. Significant legal problem. She's got a cease and desist order with my name, the Bureau of Land Management logo, the whole 9 yards. Says they're filing a quiet title action. You'll be served within the week." I'm standing there with 2 pieces of paper in my hands. One says I own this land. The other says I'm a trespasser. She climbs back and the chopper rotors whirl. And then it's just me, the dust, and a survey line that means nothing to anyone but me. But I know something's off. My dad owned this land for 37 years. Paid taxes, built the cabin, ran livestock, kept the access road open in the winter. If there was a problem, why is this coming up now? I walk back to the truck door, hanging open, and I just sit there looking out at the grass. The old cabin. Everything feels heavier now. He never mentioned any trouble, but I do remember him saying last time I visited, "This place is worth more than people know coal. If anyone ever asks about it, don't trust them." I'd thought he was just being paranoid old men, you know. Turns out he might have been right. Back at the cabin, the air smells like dust and memories. Everything's just as I left it. On a shelf above the stove is a box with all Dad's papers, and tucked inside a manila envelope, my name on it, his handwriting. Only open if someone asks about the land. I'm holding this thing, hands still dirty from the survey work, and out the window I can see those bright new stakes, little flags in a sea of grass. Instead of opening the envelope, I call Monroe Ellis, Dad's attorney, handled the will, knows where all the bodies are buried, if you get my drift. He picks up gravelly voice and just says, "I was wondering when you'd call." I look out the window. Something catches my eye. Out on the northern edge of the property, there are headlights moving slow and deliberate, sweeping the land like they're looking for something. "I'm coming now, I say," not taking my eyes off those lights. Monroe's office is above the hardware store in Pinedale. Smells like burnt coffee and old carpet. He's older now, hunched tired, but he's still got all Dad's files. He lays it out for me. Back in 2010, someone offered Dad 3 times market value for the land cash, no questions. Fast close. He turned it down. Another offer comes, same story. Then the calls start late at night, anonymous, asking if he'd reconsider. Monroe thought Dad was just being paranoid. Now he's not so sure. Turns out this company, Wind River Resources, tried to claim part of our land was federal property in 2008. Got tossed out of court for lack of evidence, but the complaint was sealed. Some exhibits the judge didn't want public. Monroe and I head to the county clerk's office where Janet, who's worked there since Reagan, pulls out all the old ledgers. There it is, a confidential motion to seal a mess of paperwork and a 1985 agreement with the BLM that basically says, yeah, we screwed up the survey, but let the Branson family keep the land forever if they keep their mouths shut. All I can think is, what the hell is under this dirt that's worth so much trouble? I finally open the envelope Dad left. Inside a copy of that 1985 agreement, BLM admitting the mistake, letting us keep the land as long as we don't talk. A letter from Dad telling me not to trust anyone who comes asking. And a business card. Everett Thornton, Deputy Director, BLM, with a note, call if trouble comes. I try the number. Disconnected. Later that night, a black SUV rolls slow past my cabin, stops 200 yards out. Lights off, then a flash of the interior light, someone watching with binoculars or a camera. After 5 minutes, they drive off toward the boundary, the same area where I saw the lights earlier. I call Monroe, tell him we need to talk in the morning. This isn't just a land dispute anymore. Monroe finds Heron Pierce, the surveyor from '85, still alive in a care center down in Rock Springs. He tells me the whole truth. He did the survey 3 times, every time it came out in our favor, until the BLM brought in their own team. Moved the lines, found rare earth deposits. The government realized they'd given away millions by accident. So they cut a secret deal with Dad, keep the land, keep quiet, let us buy it back if you ever sell. That was the deal. But someone wants to break it now. I hire Delaney Grant, a private investigator I know from my oil days, ex-military, sharp as a tack. She digs up the truth. Wind River Resources is a shell company, Chinese money behind it, mining conglomerate, buying up mineral rights all over Wyoming. Our land is sitting on a fortune in rare earth elements. That night I come back to the cabin and find it's been ransacked. Papers gone, drawers pulled, laptop stolen. But they missed what matters. The real evidence is still in my truck. I call the sheriff. He says, probably kids. Yeah, sure. The next morning I get a letter. Wind River Resources is formally suing, court date set for 60 days out. Monroe says we're going to need help. We bring in Ramona Keys, a trial attorney from Jackson, mean as a rattlesnake, and twice as fast. She looks over everything, says, this isn't just a property fight. This is conspiracy, corruption, possibly even murder. We file 3 lawsuits, quiet title to confirm ownership, defamation against Kellerman and the local paper. They ran a smear piece naturally, and conspiracy against Wind River and Cor Marmack, the county commissioner, who's been rubber stamping all their permits. And just to spice things up, we refer everything to the FBI. Chinese shell companies influencing local officials is a federal crime. Then I go public. County commission meeting, packed room, TV cameras, and there's Kellerman cool as ever in the back row. I lay it all out. The confidential agreement, the foreign shell companies, the surveillance. The commissioner sputter, slam the gavel, but the damage is done. Next day, the paper runs a front-page hit piece calling me a conspiracy nut. And suddenly, strangers are calling my phone, half of them threatening, half wanting to buy me out. But the evidence is strong. Delaney finds campaign payments to Cor Marmack, direct links from Wind River Resources, the Chinese parent company, even emails showing Kellerman orchestrating the whole thing. And just as I suspected, no real autopsy was ever done for my dad, just assumed heart attack, no questions asked, despite surveillance logs from 3 weeks before he died. Finally, Delaney tracks down Everett Thornton, the BLM director who signed the agreement. He's willing to testify off the record, but he'll do it. Says he made the deal to avoid a federal scandal, never thought anyone would come after us this hard, but he knows what's at stake now. Court day comes packed. House reporters, local ranchers, the whole legal army from Wind River. Ramona destroys them piece by piece. Thornton admits the BLM's mistake. The surveyor backs up the story. Delaney walks through the money trail and surveillance logs. The defense tries to paint it all as circumstantial, just legal technicalities, but the judge isn't buying. 3 days later, we get the verdict. We win. All of it. The land is mine free and clear. Wind River's claims dismissed. Kellerman and the newspaper liable for defamation. Wind River fined and banned from Wyoming. Cormac out of office. FBI investigation launched. I go home, put a copy of the court order on Dad's grave, and just sit there for a long time listening to the wind move through the sage. I set up a conservation easement so the land stays wild the way Dad wanted. The Branson land protected at last. Kellerman loses her law license. Wind River collapses. The paper runs a retraction. The defamation money goes into a legal fund to help other folks in the same fight. I start getting calls from families all over the state, same playbook, same pressure, same shell companies. Ramona and I helped them fight back. Was it worth it? Every damn minute. My father used to say you have to decide what you're willing to fight for. Now I know. Some lines are worth holding no matter the cost. The law still works slow, messy, brutal, but it works. My father held that line alone. Now I'm not alone. Not anymore. And if you're still wondering, yeah, I'm still here, still fighting. Because if they can come after my family, they can come after yours. So tell me, what would you have done? Would you have given up the fight or drawn your own line in the sand? Drop a comment, tell me your story, hit subscribe, because trust me, there's more where this came from.